Listen, we are so excited to have you today because my guest, who is hanging out in the virtual studio right now with me, Monique A. Smith, is with us. Listen, she is the leadership strategist. She is the AthleticPreneur. She has a magazine, she has books, and she's all about one of the things that she's about is advancing women in what is still male dominated in the area of sports management, and all that good stuff. So we're going to get into it right after this introduction. Don't you move.
Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Sharvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Sharvette Mitchell.
Well, hello again, and welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting live from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard and seen all across the World Wide Web. We are so excited to have all of you that are tuning on in and joining us here on the show. Listen, we definitely love all of you that are listening and coming in. I see Lynette saying help. Hey Lynette, thank you for watching. Listen, we've got our viewers coming on in. Betty Mitchell is saying, hey girl, hey, that's my mom right there. Welcome to all of those that are popping it. Okay, Lynette is saying, oops, I meant to say hello, not help. Okay, I was gonna find out what type of help you needed today, but we're excited to have you. This segment is brought to you by the 6th annual pop-up conference for women in business. This is my signature conference hosted every year. And listen, we are bringing it right back here to the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, November 4th, which is for VIP only, November 5th and November 6th. You can jump over to heygirlhey.biz. Yep, that's heygirlhey.biz. Listen, if you're hanging out on the show website, sharvette.com, there's a link and a button for you to jump right over to that website. And if you're watching us on live on one of our streaming platforms here, it's right on the screen. You can screenshot it and all of that jazz. So there you go right there. And so again, the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, the goal is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we bring guests to you, and we curate shows that will motivate you and excite you today. And so listen, we're going to jump right on in. We encourage you to share this out and continue commenting. We love to see your comments and share, and we'll share those online. So let me do a little bit more of an introduction of our guest today. Monique A. Smith. She is a sports management veteran. Oh my goodness, of 30 plus years. She also owns a consulting business called Seeds of Empowerment, LLC, where she is a leadership strategist for athletic departments, sports organizations, and individuals who want to advance in athletics, sports business, or the marketplace. She consults with universities by doing workshops and retreats. She has her own monthly membership program. She has a speakers bureau that you can get involved with, and new, hot off the press, an amazing magazine. I believe we're going into the 2nd edition, Significance in Athletics and Sports. And she is a radio show host, Chat in the Garden. Without further ado, coming on up to the mic, live on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, we're bringing on in Monique A. Smith. Hey, Monique.
Hey, Sharvette. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey girl, hey, we're excited to have you. Again, listeners are just popping on in, just making comments saying, hey. We're excited to have everyone that's joining us. So there you go. All right, so Monique, tell us a little bit about how you got started in all of this, in sports in particular. How did you get started?
How did I get sports? Well, I'm from Sussex, Virginia.
All right.
Which is right down the south of Richmond. I was a scorekeeper for Wegley Junior High School in the 8th grade. And so I kept scores all during high school. I just saw one of my classmates, one of my teammates, Tony Massenberg, he played for the NBA for 40 years.
Wow.
And I was his scorekeeper. But when he was being recruited, someone had to add up all his scores and his rebounds for being recruited. So fast forward, I'm in college. I majored in public relations. And the first internship I had was for the CIAA. That's oh yeah, it was the third largest basketball tournament in the country back then, and so they had an internship for PR. And guess what? It was doing the same thing I was doing in 8th grade. It was calculating, adding up scores, putting the stats in, and picking the players of the week and the coach of the week. So that was my sophomore year in college. I
Wow.
worked in sports information, which is nothing but sports PR, in college. And then I interned with the BET in between that. Did a little dabbling with television. And I didn't really like the creativity you had to come up with so fast. And I like to come with slogans, and promotion comes to me naturally. But
Uh-huh.
that type of go get that news. And so because I was with the sports information director people, they said there's a job at St. Paul's College and they have an opening and you should go for it. And I was like, really? So I had all the support of all these SIDs who said, no, we're going to support you. And here's the ironic thing. They had just named the very first female athletic director in the CIAA, in Jeanette A. Lee. So we became pioneer duos. First female AD, first full-time female SID, and that was 1990 in St. Paul's College. And it just so happens that the administrative part came by default. I became athletic director at 28 after going through 5 different athletic directors. And, when people give you things, it's usually based on the fact that they don't have anything else they can go to. But for me, I have been the consistent person. I have been there the whole time. And the ironic thing is that the president contacted me while I was working the Olympics in 96, which is 25 years ago. Yesterday was 25 years ago that they opened up there was a opening ceremony. And I was working the press room at Morehouse for basketball. And he asked me, would I please be interim athletic director? And I said, well, let me think about it. And I was like, the bomb went off that night. And I said, you know what? Life is short.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and do this and I will learn from it. And if he sees something in me, I must try to see what he sees.
Okay, so wait. So let me just pump the brakes here because you name drop BET, you name drop the Olympics, the CIAA. So you definitely had such a great opportunity, like to really be in some big events. And as a woman, what was your perspective of anything you can share about like how women are treated in these environments or were treated at least back then?
Well, I was just talking to my husband about this last night. There's something about youth that you have. You don't have a fear of failure,
Mm-hmm.
And I basically was like, oh, no, I can do this because it comes to me naturally. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And you heard me say I did BET and I did actually local television and promotions as well when I was in college. And I learned I didn't like it. And so you got to, test it out when you don't have anything to lose. But when we get older, and this is what I'm really concerned about now. When we get older, we have a fear of failure. We want to stay with what works. And so, again, I've been in this business for 30 years. So after being at St. Paul College, I went Division I for 2 years. Then I went to the CIAA headquarters for 13 years. And that's when I began to really be the role model for women because they were like, how did you do this? And so most of it is you cannot have your head down and just think, I'm going to just do the work and be noticed.
Mm.
And so because I serve on a lot of NCAA committees, Black Women's Sports Foundation, the Honda Committee, my name, I was seen. And
Yeah.
so the difference is the reason why I said that is because women who are visible seem to get the respect because you can showcase your specialized knowledge.
That's good. And that's good in a lot of arenas. That's good in a lot of industries. And so for sports management and all of, what are the different types of positions
Oh,
that people can get? Talk a little bit about, and then in particular, the positions like you have younger women that are coming to you saying, hey, how can I go up the ranks? What type of positions are they going after?
well, and I do teach at Hampton University. I'm an adjunct professor in sports management. So what I tell my students is entry-level positions are usually going to be compliance, athletic, academic advising. I got positions right now I'm trying to push people in. And mind you, and ironically, when I promote folks, it was really one of my students, and he was a male. And he says, I said, how did the interview go? The connection. And he said, but the salary is pretty low. I said, well, you got to make a decision. Do you want a career in athletic administration or do you want to get paid? And that's just it. Because you got to get your foot in the door. I mean, most people on professional level, I got 2 students right now interning, but getting paid at 3, actually, Seattle Seahawks, 49ers, and Baltimore Ravens. All right.
Wonderful.
And I have a client who just got a job with the Washington Mystics. And she was working in retail and doing great and got like 3 promotions since the pandemic. But she had been pressing me. And we just kept working together about her confidence. See, that's why I keep trying to find the confidence. You can how to sell yourself.
Yeah.
And again, the SID in me comes out of promoting my people, same as I would a student athlete trying to get them all American. And I said, if people see your name on a list they hadn't seen before, because they check off names they've seen or heard someplace else. And that's what you want to do. You want somebody to see your name on the docket. Okay, let's bring her in for an interview. So this young man, this young lady who just got domestics, she told, we had a mastermind. And I said, tell everybody how you selected this position. Because again, she looked at her values. On her value list, her compass, it says nothing about I want to make a certain amount of money. It'll be financial free. She said none of that was said there. She said she wanted to work in athletics and sports, and she listed several things. And because she was in retail, her point of knowing that she can sell now. So she's in ticketing with the Mystics. And she said, no, it is substantially lower than what I get paid in retail. But this is what I wanted. So knowing what you want will allow you not to take the first shiny thing that's in your face.
That's good advice. That's good advice. And so we talked about some of the lower end positions in sports management and all of that. What are the positions that people are going for that are paying the big dollars?
Well, it just depends on what institution too.
Okay.
But the covenant position everybody wants is the athletic director. It's the leader over all the coaches in the program. And, I think that's really great, but they also have to recognize, why do you want it? Because sometimes being the second lieutenant is fulfilling because you can actually carry out programs. Most times the athletic director is going to go fundraise, and they're not touching the student athletes. Again, entry-level positions are ones that are support staff. Now how you go, you don't touch the people that you're serving. You're touching people that can help you serve them with resources. So understanding that, where you get energy from, well, because again, if you don't feel the students, and you're gonna be very unhappy.
Yeah. So, and what I love is that you've put together some things, some programs, some things that will help not just women. You do target women, but you will, like me, a few lucky men. But you have a speakers bureau that you've put together. You also have this amazing new magazine which can feature and give some of that visibility. Look, a copy right there. You are so well planned, so well planned. So since you have that up, talk about what birthed that magazine. Physical, actual. For those that are listening to the podcast, it's a physical, actual magazine. You can get on Amazon, go to our website, all of that. But what birthed that magazine, and what will people find in it?
Well, it was just, again, I just had, there's a young lady that was just let go from an institution last week. And I would say, this is what I keep saying. No one knows her name. I said, she should have been in the magazine or something, because now she gave 30 some years to institution and no one knows her name. She didn't join the Speakers Bureau. I said, you know what? They're not getting the Speakers Bureau. They're not understanding that. Let me create this magazine. And I had just been in an anthology. And
Dio is hanging out with us, who is the visionary author. She might still be here. Dio popped in, who is the visionary author of the book that you're in.
Yes. And I didn't even know I was going to do that. I went to a conference in it, and I wanted to share my athletic administrative story, because just like you said, people want to be athletic director, but they don't know exactly what it takes. It takes a lot of growth mindset versus fixed mindset, and I wanted to share my experience. And so I got so much great feedback from that, but I couldn't share pictures. And I said, you know what? I want something with pictures. And the business format for the magazine is the same as anthology. The people pay to be inside of here, and like you and your platform, it made them go ahead and go get professional pictures and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because that took legs for some people. Some people on national committees now because of this. Wow. There's one young lady in here who studied in social work, right? Because she hung out with me, she realized that she was serving student athletes. And so she shared the magazine, she's at Quinnipiac, with her supervisor, and then they wanted her to teach social work for sports. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. It's a seed planter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. So how can, I've named a couple ways, but let me make sure they hear officially from you. How can people pick up a copy of that?
Well, I'll make it real simple for you. You can go to Amazon and you can get this in your hand. Okay. But if you want a PDF and you want to pre-order the second issue, just go to payhip.com/seeds of empowerment.
Wonderful. There you go. And if you are looking at the screen here in your live, seedsofempowerment.info is her main website. And it will also click you over to the PayHip site, so you can get to everything that you need. I think this is a good spot to do a quick little commercial break. Let you sip some tea. When we get back, I want to talk about Chat in the Garden, which is your radio show that's wildly successful in the genre that you're in. It's so niche. So we're going to jump into that. So we'll let you go back to the virtual studio. And we are excited again to have Monique A. Smith hanging out with us. And we're going to take just a little bit of a commercial break. If you're new to me or new to this platform and you're saying, who is Sharvette? Well, let me tell you a little bit about Sharvette Mitchell. Imagine what it would feel like to throw a spotlight on your business and draw attention to the great services you offer. Picture having the tools and strategies to elevate the marketing of your business. That's the mission of Mitchell Productions. We consult with women entrepreneurs and a few lucky men to help them get more customers by focusing on their visibility, their marketing, and their branding. In working with us, our clients generate more revenue and increase their brand awareness. We do this in a couple of ways with consulting services, the Platform Builder group coaching program, pop-up conferences, book collaborations, and the Sharvette Mitchell radio show. Hi, I'm Sharvette Mitchell, your online marketing strategist, your overwhelm eliminator, your platform builder, and your confidence igniter. Let's schedule a meet and greet call so that we can accelerate your marketing. All right, there you go. There you have it. All right, so let's jump back on in, bring my guest back on live here on the Sharvette Mitchell radio show, hanging out here with us. And so Monique A. Smith, let's talk about Chat in the Garden. How did that get started? What is that? How long? Give us all the deets. Yep, and we can see if you're watching, you can see her logo, see her information right behind her.
Well, I had a publicist, and she Nikki Curry, and she said, I have a client who wants to have the longest podcast. Can you serve as a guest or a host? And I said, I have control issues. I will be the host. And so we did that. And she was like, oh, you're a natural at this. I said, well, I majored in mass media at Hampton. I know how to do radio. And I know how to do a rundown sheet and whatnot. And so she said, I have someone that's a little bit more professional, and I think you will love. His name was Clark Garrison. Mm-hmm. And I was blessed to have him guide me, and he said, okay, this is the deal. You can pick the area you want to do. And he says, you got to have a Facebook. And I said, okay, and what is that? And what do you do? Yeah. And August, that would have been 8 years ago.
Wow.
And so we have internationally known. And we have a Facebook group that has grown to 2,100 people. That's really, I interview African-American women in athletic administration and sports C-suites, executives. And really it's just, again, what you say, introducing different careers.
Yeah.
And I've been told that, I had one young lady who came down the ramp for a minute to become a mother. And she said that listening to the podcast encouraged her to get back on. I mean, that's the whole thing. And I drive people to the Facebook group for the networking. And when we congratulate when people get a job or get a position, and it just becomes something that people just live for, to be honest with you, because you ask me how it is, it's sometimes very lonely being on it. And so, and as you read in my book, I talk about my hitting a wall, literally and figuratively. A community was what my therapist said that I needed. And so I'm giving to them what I needed and what brought me out of the clouds. And so professional development is what I really enjoy, being a social commissioner for the CIAA. And that is what all of this it's like a wagon, and all connects and keeps going around. Did not plan it out that way. I mean, everything just the magazine came out. I saw a need, and I was trying to feed the need that I saw within the garden, and it's been a joy. I mean, I really enjoyed to help other people. Again, my slogan is planting seeds of empowerment to lead others to greatness.
Wonderful. And who are some of maybe the high profile guests that you've featured on Chat in the Garden?
Well, ironically, tomorrow I am going to have the founder of Women's Football Conference, which is women's tackle football.
Wow.
Tomorrow. And,
awesome.
But I've had LaChana Robinson. She's a commentary for ESPN. I had the lady from The Athlete. Oh my goodness, her name just passed me. My mind goes to where they are. But I've had all of the Black female athletic directors, Carla Williams, Christine Kelly, who's now the number 2 at Vanderbilt. I've had the number 1, the AD at Vanderbilt. There almost every Black female AD, Division 1, 2, or 3, NCAA or NAIA, I have had on the show. But I have had one Caucasian woman.
Oh.
and she asked to be on it. And when I couldn't tell her no, Joan Cronin used to be the athletic director at University of Tennessee. She is really what put women's basketball on the map by her marketing and leadership. And so she wrote a book, and I said, this is a book all women athletes need to have. So come on in.
Wonderful, wonderful. And how can people listen to Chat in the Garden?
You just go to chatinthegarden.com.
All right. Nice and simple right there. And you also do workshops and retreats for universities. So there might be, who knows who's listening or will hear this. And so universities can bring you in. What are some of the types of things that you can discuss with either student athletes or faculty?
Well, I just did last week. I just did the SIC SWA. Those are senior women's administrators. Those are the number 2 lieutenants of all athletic departments. And just did a virtual workshop for them last week, and it was phenomenal. And I think what I've been saying, the big return. And what I've heard from the women that are in administration and others is that there's no more returning to normal. They're coming back. They're ready to come back. But they're coming back differently. They want to be heard and valued. And so my workshops have always been catered to that, but it's now more than ever that you can hear what they say, what is important to them. And you need to cater toward that, because people have been at home and they've been able to see that, the growth of my children, me being a caregiver. So what I do is we do things called a compass, what really guides our decisions. And they get a chance to know each other and be able to find out what the values. And then when we visit the universities or athletic departments values with what I call gung-ho, which is studying the way of the squirrel. Like, why do we do what we do? Which is like gathering the nuts. And then number 2 is how, the beaver. The beaver knows he must have the dam done, but do you tell him how he has to get it done? No, you let people have autonomy, okay? And thirdly, the way of the geese. How do we celebrate our wins? And so we do that together, and they become rejuvenated after we have this interactive workshop. So that's my signature one that I do for most athletic departments. And then with student athletes, I really do concentrate on growth mindset, because many things that most of them are all leaders. But how do you advance when you can't deal with no?
Oh, that's good. Listen, somebody needs to type that in the chat. How do you advance when you can't deal with no? And quote Monique, put that in quote. Monique A.J. Smith, how do you advance when you can't deal with no? Wow. What's a little nugget right there? That's a good way to wrap up this interview. What's a nugget that you share with them about that?
Well, I give them a tool of the 4 agreements, because and one of them usually is what I said. It was the no to the position that you hold, or was it to you personally? So it's not a rejection of you. And I just take it as feedback, and the feedback means I need to go back and give you some more information. It's a notification. No is notification. All right. No is notification of that I need to give you some more information to allow you to come back with a positive affirmation to what I'm asking you to do.
All right. Wow. Monique A.J. Smith, leadership strategist, AthleticPreneur, Seeds of Empowerment.info, right there. If you're hanging out at Sharvette.com, all the information is there. If you're listening to the podcast, the bio and all the information is there on Apple Podcasts and iTunes and Stitcher and all of that. My last question for you, Monique, the goal of the show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we want to know what continues to motivate you.
Seeing others advance. When I see the clients and whatnot actually get the awards, get the notification you have received the job. My students, with all of it, again, it's just like planting seeds. You see that one little piece growing, and you're like, oh yeah. And you say, okay, let's keep watering. Let's just keep going. So that's what motivates me.
Wonderful. Any final words or anything you wanted to offer? Let the audience know.
Well, again, you can find, I like to communicate on LinkedIn. Monique A. Smith is where I like to talk. And so I would definitely love to talk about how we can plant seeds with you.
All right. Well said. Well, thank you for stopping by the show, Monique. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Sharvette.
You're welcome. Wow. All right. That wraps up a phenomenal show today with Monique A. Smith. Again, if you missed any portion, you're like, oh, I just got in on the tail end, just go to Sharvette.com. That's where you can check out an easy way to listen to the show. Also, you can, forward it on to different people. Listen, thank you so much. I see Marcy stopped by. Also, Lynette said, thank you. Thank you for popping in. Thank you for the show. Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, I'm Sharvette Mitchell, and I'm your lovely host, online marketing strategist, focused on your visibility, your marketing, your positioning, all the things. And this show is one of those outlets. And it's going to be a wrap for today. We'll see you all later on the web.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you've been listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Catch Sharvette Mitchell every Tuesday at 6 p.m., interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This